Several courts across the Federal Capital Territory were under lock and key on Monday as members of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria began an indefinite strike over unmet demands. The industrial action follows a breakdown in negotiations with the Minister of Labour and Employment. News Central's Sagir Ibrahim monitored the level of compliance across major courts in the FCT and now reports.
The industrial action, which commenced at midnight on June 1, was declared via a circular issued by the leadership of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria. At the heart of the strike are long-standing demands, including the payment of 5 months' wage awards, implementation of the 70,000 naira national minimum wage, and a 25 to 35% salary increment for judiciary workers, demands the union says remains unfulfilled. Despite the directive, some chapters of the union opted out of the strike at the last minute. At the Supreme Court and National Judicial Council, operations continued. The chapter chairman of JUSUN at the Apex Court attributed the decision to a personal sense of duty and patriotism.
You pay 300,000 naira from Lagos air ticket to come to Supreme Court. You pay accommodation only to enter Supreme Court, as they said no, you cannot be allowed in, and you are paying the same amount going back. That's irresponsible on our side, and we cannot continue to do that. Nigeria has to be good, and it starts with us. We are sure that the issue will be addressed.
However, the situation was different at other courts, from the Federal High Court to the National Industrial Court and the FCT High Court. Full compliance with the strike was observed and strictly enforced. Gomina Yusuf, Vice Chairman of the FCT High Court JUSUN chapter, says the government's inaction has left workers with no alternative.
So far, we've been having this back and front. They will ask for time, and it is that time we don't have. So the only thing we can do is they push us to this level. They are aware of it, and the last meeting we had was Friday. We had another one on Saturday, even yesterday, before we came to this conclusion.
For many unsuspecting litigants and court users, the shutdown has come at a cost. Wasted time, resources, and rescheduled proceedings.
It has disorganized my program because the court, I was supposed to go to Gowalada today to file this particular document, to submit this particular document if it had been signed and sealed with their stamp. But as it is now, I can't do that. You understand? Even the court at Gowalada is also on strike.
While no resumption date has been announced, many Nigerians are hopeful that the government will intervene promptly to address the issues and restore operations in a sector often described as the last hope of the common man. In Abuja for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
And now Sagir Ibrahim joins us live to bring updates regarding the JUSUN strike. Good morning, Sagir. Thank you very much for that very detailed report. But let's get into the intricacies of the demands by JUSUN. So talk to us about what you witnessed yesterday, what the demands are.
Good morning, Olive. Good morning, Joe, and good morning, Benga. Pleasure to be on the show this morning. Well, interesting situations. Yesterday, quite a number of Nigerians and myself were at the courts. A number of them, of course, were there to, carry out their various judiciary functions, activities. There were lawyers, there were judges, there were individuals from outside who had cases in the court, who were expectant that the court was going to be open for them to carry out the business of the day. But unfortunately, they met the gates under lock and key with the banners you've been seeing all over the place, JUSUN on strike. Why is JUSUN on strike? JUSUN is on strike because they feel that the government has failed to meet with demands that they ought to have met without ordinarily asking to do so. I mean, the minimum wage, there's been a new minimum wage for quite a number of time now. How many months has it been? Initially, when the difficulty from the implementation or the removal of fuel subsidy, as the case may be, followed a wage award that was given to quite a number of civil servants cut across the federal, state, and local government. For JUSUN, they say it's between 25% to 35%, all of which up until this moment they are saying is yet to be implemented. They say they've been, on various occasions with the representative of the federal government, talk about the Minister of Labor and Employment to raise these concerns. Look, we cannot continue to live like we are living at the moment. If these implementations are not done, how do we continue to do the work that we are doing as diligently as we can without any form of interference, without any form of generally breakdown of whether it's trust? Because the court as it is supposed to be the last hope of the common man. And just like the police, if you do not treat your court officials well, and I'm not saying this is the case, but you leave room open for quite a number of things that could happen, some of them are unimaginable. So they are saying, do all of this for us because we are doing this work for you. And if you don't do it for us and we do not have the capacity to do this work, then we cannot continue to do the work and continue to hear empty promises. It's going to be today, it's going to be tomorrow, give us a little time, and all of that. As you can hear from the interview, quite a number of them said it. Well, we tried. We gave them time. We sat on the table with them. We negotiated with them. And it still did not yield any positive results. And the resultant effect, of course, being left with no choice other than to go on this strike.
Has there been any words from the Nigerian Judicial Council with regards to the grouses of JUSUN? And what are they saying to avert this strike action?
That's been the interesting thing, Benga. It's been hush-hush. One would have expected that you would start to see some kind of action, from immediately the strike was declared. But I've not set eyes on any statement, be it from the National Judicial Council, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, or the Ministry of Labor, or the federal government, as the case is, to this effect. I even tried reaching out to quite a couple of members in the JUSUN themselves to know whether the strike continues. But it's hush. We can only wait to see what happens today. But as at this moment, it seems to me that the court remains closed until, any development comes up. And this makes one really concerned as to the state of the situation. There are prisoners who are in jail. There are individuals who are standing trial for various reasons, cut across various offenses, who needs to be proven either innocent or guilty, before they are sentenced or before they are discharged and acquitted. All of that cannot happen because JUSUN is on strike. Because if you go to the court, you won't even be granted access because you will need lock and key at the gates. Talk less of, going there, meeting judicial officials, bailiffs of the court, and, court clerical staff who will be there to provide these services to you. So it means anything regarding the judiciary, from the magistrate court up onto the court of appeal, is on hold. It's on hold at this moment because the Supreme Court chose to opt out of the strike because they do not feel that it is responsible for them to go on strike. The apex court will be on strike at a situation where the country is. You would expect somebody to travel from outside Nigeria because he has a case at the Supreme Court that he intends to meet up with. People travel from far and wide just to be able to meet up with court appointment, and you get to the gate and you find out that the Supreme Court in this instance is locked. Think of the impression that it gives not just Nigerians but members of the diaspora who keeps a keen eye on the activities happening in and around Nigeria. So this continues to be the issue, but as at this moment, it's not been any word, at least not till now.
Glad that you also mentioned the Supreme Court, members of the Supreme Court withdrawing from this. We're also seeing information that the members of the Federal High Court, have also withdrawn from the strike. Would you say that there is unity amongst the JUSUN members within themselves? Because I'm getting the sense, I'm not quite sure, that there are different pockets that want to go ahead with the strike and several other pockets who want out of the strike. So would you say they are providing a united front within themselves?
Oliver, I will not even look at it from that light. I will look at it from the light that some of these individuals do not feel that it is right for them. Why should the judicial arm of government be shut down? It's an arm of government. It's just like saying the executive is on strike, the presidency, from top to bottom, and every other executive individual in the executive arm of government is going on strike because, certain demand has not been met. That is what it looks like. Maybe it's because Nigerians are used to the constant strikes. ASU will go on strike, that is the Academic Staff Union. Individuals working in the power sector will go on strike. Judiciary workers will go on strike. The National Union of Teachers will also go on strike. These are just quite a number of individuals that have gone on strike over the years that Nigerians have gotten used to. Maybe this is the reason why Nigerians see it as, oh, it's a war between Nigerians and the Nigerian government, or it's a war between Nigerian workers and the Nigerian government. However, some of these individuals feel like the judiciary is an arm of government that provides an essential service to Nigerians and to others who have a business with it. So they do not feel that it should be normal or okay for the courts to be short. A federal high court being short because 25 to 35% wage award has not been paid. The federal high court is short because 70,000 naira minimum wage is not paid. This, I believe, is a huge indictment on us. And this is why some of these individuals do not want it to look like, and it's a question of patriotism from where I stand. So they do not feel like it's okay for that to happen. And this is the reason why quite a number of them are saying, okay, perhaps we should pump our brakes a little bit. Let's give them some time and see, how they react to it. Already, quite a number of courts are already shut. So work with what you have first, and if they do not act, perhaps they will be forced to take similar actions.
The Minister of Labour, Honourable Mingadi, was scheduled to meet with them. We heard that he met with them, also with members of the DSS, and it seemed like the meeting ended in a deadlock. But has there been any statement from the government? Let's put it that way, because just yesterday we did have a representative from the presidency, an essay to the presidency, talking about private companies ensuring that they implement the minimum wage of 70,000 naira. But here we are, an arm of government, an organ, a very strong one, which offers a lot of support, especially to Nigerians, is now shutting down. Can you share with us if any member of the government has indeed spoken, if at all?
So I slept very late last night just because I was looking for additional information to see whether anybody, just anyone, had reacted to the strike. But unfortunately, I didn't see. Maybe it later came and I've not set eyes on it. But as at the last time that I checked my sources to see if there's been any form of response, it has been, in the negative. And this sort of paints a very sad picture. Now, here is a hot but yet controversial take. You see, it's because it's the Nigerian government, right? But if the Nigerian government were to be a corporate entity, I dare say that it would have a very terrible human resource department in some light because of the way, it treats some of its workers. Because if this were to be a corporate organization, for instance, the issue of salary increase should not take so long to implement. There's been other issues as well, but why does Nigerian workers have to continually beg for their rights? This wage award was, given by the president to say life is difficult. Use this to tarry a while we work on something that is more permanent. And then something that was a little bit more permanent in this light, the minimum wage, also came along the line. And neither got the 25 to 35% wage award, neither have they gotten the implementation of the new national minimum wage. So it seems like they are caught between, the devil and the deep blue sea, having nowhere else to go than to literally fight for themselves and gain the kind of attention they think the government would need to hear and see before they get what they want.
Yesterday, the courts, were on real life lockdown, it would seem. Did you see what the implications of this strike, have? Did you see the physical implication of this strike? Were there cases that you witnessed or have heard of that maybe needed to have been heard yesterday that unfortunately could not be attended to because of the strike?
Oh, yes, I saw a couple. So at the FCT High Court, for instance, quite a number of individuals were there. Some of them had documents to sign, others had documents to collect, some had cases that were scheduled to hold that very day. They were all turned back. Somebody came as far as Gwagwalada. It's on the outskirts of the FCT. It's around between an hour and an hour 30 minutes to the FCT High Court if you're coming by road. He just needed to get a document signed so he could return it back to another court in the Gwagwalada area council where he came from. And he came and met locked gate, and he was not allowed into the premises. He stood at the gate for a while, and then I approached him and asked him what the situation was. And he began to pour his heart out. It is disheartening. It is heartbreaking that Nigerians who ordinarily rely on these services, but yet have no control over how compensation is done to those who provide these services, continue to bear the brunt of the effect, of a lack of implementation of all of this. And it really, really brings to question the reason why, this has continued to fester, and the reason why the government needs to act fast to ensure that the right thing is done, to ensure that this implementation, I checked everywhere, I spoke with members of these unions, they had just 3 demands. They all mentioned just 3 demands: 25 to 35% wage award, implementation of the 70,000 naira minimum wage, and one other one that I can't remember right now, but it's basically 3. So why is it taking so much time to get all of this implemented so the offices are reopened? That's the question that quite a number of Nigerians are asking as they continue to bear the brunt of the strike.
Very sad situation, especially for Nigerians who may have come from a far-flung distance, like you did report. That man who was sad, and just like you've said, having come to the court, then you find it closed. It kind of like gives a negative...
Yeah, they say the judiciary is the last hope of the country, and to see all of this happening. But hopefully the authorities would address this issue with the urgency it deserves.
I imagine people who probably had bail hearings, bail applications to be heard, time-bound applications that need to have been heard by the court yesterday, and unfortunately will not be able to access it because of this strike.
Have to go back
just to highlight to our viewers what they're asking for: payment of 5 months arrears wage award, the implementation of 70% minimum wage, and then 25 to 35% salary increase implementation. These are the asks of JUSUN, and we will continue to follow up with that. Thank you, Sergey Ibrahim, for bringing us this update.